Hello. Today I am working on my project SUV that I purchased off my parents. Been sitting for about 3 years at my parents' house, and I decided to offer to purchase this 2003 Land Rover off my mom and dad. I have since purchased about 6 months ago. I have developed the reason why it sat for 3 years is it had the S&M lights blinking. It wouldn't shift gears. The XYZ switch was bad on it. My dad couldn't figure that out. I replaced that, got it going, and then I've been just driving and fixing stuff as I figured out, something that's broke on it. The Three Amigos happened. I replaced the one sensor, the cheap one, that's underneath the big block. That was like a $25 part. It comes and goes. Sometimes it'll kick on, sometimes it doesn't. I went ahead, since it sat for 3 years, I had to replace all of the brake calipers, front and back. The frame is shot. I'm gonna have to buy a new frame. There's British, Atlantic British, or British Atlantic, whichever one it is, has a frame for $5,000 that I'm eventually gonna get. Brakes were replaced on it when my dad got it. Again, he bought it like 3 years ago off a guy. It had the knocking on it in the engine already when my dad got it. So anyway, I went ahead to try to fix the knocking. I got on YouTube and read all the reviews, and changed out the thermostat, put the 1540 oil in it, stuck a bunch of honeycomb oil in it. Anything I can do to get that ticking noise to go away. It still hasn't went away. It's not going to. I'm going to have to either have the engine rebuilt or buy a new engine. I'm looking at that too. But anyway, today what I'm doing is I'm replacing the front steering damper. I went ahead and replaced the upper and lower ball joints because it was like shaking really bad when I was driving. My dad put some really cheap Fusion tires on it. Again, it sat, so it's got, some flat spots on the tire, so it still doesn't have the really good drive that the Land Rover Discovery typically has. But anyway, I'll show you what the Land Rover looks like. It's in good shape. The paint's not too terribly bad. The inside's in perfect condition. I'll show you the inside. So basically, here's the front of it, and I'm gonna be putting a new bumper on it. As you can see, duct tape on it, keep it from cracking any worse. Gonna need to get some new headlights. I'm gonna put a new bumper on it. But overall, as far as the outside of the vehicle, I mean, it's not in too terrible shape. This will have to get replaced. It's cracked. This will have to get replaced. It's cracked. That's typical. Everything is not cheap on a Land Rover. Stupid ass parts. This is $350. These are $150 on eBay. But as far as the inside goes, I mean, besides the dashboard being warped right there, the inside is in great shape. The seats are in great shape. I think I'm the fourth owner. There was a guy that owned it before the guy that my dad bought it off of. It was an Ohio vehicle. I guess that's why. But I did jerk the headliner out, and I went ahead and did what everybody else on YouTube did. Put that coating on it. It doesn't look too terribly bad. You have to really look at it to tell if there's anything wrong with it. But as far as like the body goes, the body and the inside, man, the seats in great shape. It looks really nice. And I see all kinds of Land Rovers, you know, that people's fixed up. It doesn't have the rear seats. I wish it did. Not a big deal, not a game changer, right? But like I said, I did the headliner, ripped all that out and redid all that. I'm about to, once I get done with the steering damper here, the next thing is probably either I'm gonna do the engine or I'm gonna replace the chassis, and that's gonna be a big deal. And then I'll start with the suspension. I don't want to put any kind of suspension on it or anything with a jacked up, rusted chassis. So like I said, it's not a bad looking ride. It runs really good, other than the super loud knocking, ticking inside the engine that starts happening. I watched a YouTube video from another guy from overseas in Europe. He replaced the one part that was making the ticker. It was a lifter. He replaced that one lifter, the bearing and all that stuff, and then it ended up happening again 6 months later. So I'm either gonna rebuild this engine or buy a new one. But anyway, what I'm gonna replace today is this damper right here, the steering damper. There's the old one right there. You can see the stuff new I've replaced. You can see the upper and lower ball joints. I mean, this thing just pukes oil it didn't at first, and then I started driving it and it started puking the oil. But this thing should be fairly simple to replace. I mean, basically it says put the car into gear, remove the bolt that goes through the eye, blah blah blah. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I went ahead and loosened these up. That way I wouldn't embarrass myself. It wasn't too terribly bad to do. I did have to take a bar here to get me some leverage from where those guys put that back on. But anyway, I'm gonna try to position this to where you can see how easy it is to replace. All I have to do is take that out and take that out. But I'm gonna go ahead and take it off and then put it back on and show you what it looks like. Again, all you have to do is take this off, drop that, and then take this off and drop it and reconnect it. I mean, it doesn't even, if I have any issues putting the new one on, I'll start the video back up so you can see it. All right, so here it is, put in. Honestly, it took like 5 minutes. I mean, 2 bolts. It didn't even take me 5 minutes, honestly. I mean, it was super simple to change that out. So yeah, I'm hoping this kind of helps me a little bit on the steering. But for all you Land Rover enthusiasts out there, if you can, you know, give me some pointers, leave me some comments if you see anything that's jacked up. Let me know so I don't get myself killed riding this thing. But yeah, I've got a lot to do to this bad boy mechanically. The drive lines are in great shape. The 4-wheel drive, the shift, the differentials, all that stuff is good. It's just the engine with the knocking noise, and the 3 Amigos that I'm still working on. I know what all I need to do to fix that, and then just as far as like the chassis itself, and then once I get the painting and everything that I want to do to it, and the tent. I'm gonna make this bad boy one of these things that you see on all these YouTube videos. That's my goal anyway. Something I can just kind of drive around and travel on. But it doesn't look too terribly bad underneath here. I've done a lot of scraping and knocking off of rust and stuff like that. So I know that all of that has got to be replaced, but I'm debating on just getting that chassis first and switching that over and just getting the suspension that I want with that. But anyway, leave some comments. I'm not a big YouTuber. You can like and subscribe if you want to. No big deal to me, but I post some videos on here. I like to post some goofy videos too. Now that I'm retired out of the military, I think I'll be doing a lot more YouTubing. Hopefully I can figure out how to be all high speed and do some cool music in the background and pictures and all that other stuff. But anyway, appreciate you watching the video, and when I replace something else, I'll post it, and hopefully you guys can get something out of it and give me some feedback. You can see the craziness of the rust from this thing sitting. It's ridiculous, man. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, it had been sitting for 3 years. I pulled it on my dad's car hauler, and all the brake calipers were sticking. I had to, like I said, I replaced all those. Got a lot more work to do. But anyway, super excited about it. I think these things are awesome little rides. It sits wonderfully. The seats are amazing. They really did a good job with the interior, but for God's sakes, the engine mechanically. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he said that Land Rovers in Europe are like, oh, it's shit vehicles, but over here in the United States, everybody loves them. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll post some more videos later. All right, so I'm just giving it a test drive. As you can see, I'm in good shape. I don't have any lights on my Discovery 2 Land Rover. None, zero. But that's just for today. Just depends on what kind of mood it's in. It could change its mind and kick a few lights. So I'm gonna give it a whirl. I know that the steering damper doesn't do that big of a deal unless you're just on trails or anything, but changing the upper lower ball joints and getting an alignment on it. So before, when I drove it, my steering wheel would go like this. It was super bad. It's pretty smooth. Wind's blowing a little bit, so it's gonna blow me a little bit on the road, but for the most part, it seems to be driving pretty darn good. So yeah, there we go. I'm not sure if you can hear the ticking in the engine as it's going, but the cab's pretty quiet for the most part. Alright guys, well, I'm happy. And until the next time I do something else to it, thanks for watching.